Bromine is an element in group 7 of the periodic table. Bromine has two isotopes. The mass number of bromine 79 is 79, and of bromine 81 is 81. What is the meaning of the term isotopes? Well, we've seen that atoms of the same element, namely of the same proton number, can have different number of neutrons. And as is the case with bromine, let's take a look at bromine here. It is in group 7. We have group 7 here. And bromine is element number 35. So bromine has two flavors. We have bromine 79 and bromine 81. They're both bromine because they both have protons, but they differ in the number of neutrons. Now if I take 79 minus 35, I'm gonna get 44. So this guy here has 44 neutrons, whereas this guy here, if I take 81 minus 35, I'm going to get 46. This guy has 46 neutrons. So they're both the same element, but they have different number of neutrons. So isotopes mean atoms of the same element with differing number of neutrons. Part 2, complete this table to show the numbers of subatomic particles in atoms of bromine 79 and bromine 81. So we've seen that from the periodic table, bromine is element number 35, so we would have 35 protons for both of them because they're both bromine. There's the same element, and we had worked out that bromine 79 has 44 neutrons and bromine 81 has 46 neutrons, so I'll just fill that in here. And for a neutral atom, we're going to want to have the same number of electrons as protons for them to neutralize, so I'm going to have 35 here and 35 there. Calcium and argon both form particles of similar mass. Complete the following table that shows the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons in each particle. So what this question is saying is that calcium and argon has a similar mass. What they mean is that they have, well, not exactly the same, but very close, almost the same mass number. They both have mass number 40. Ignore this third one for a minute. They both have mass 40, meaning the protons plus neutrons in them equals 40, because the protons and neutrons, we said, have masses very close to 1. So if I add up the number of protons and neutrons, I get the mass of the particle. I can ignore the mass of the electrons, remember, because they're so much tinier than the mass of the protons and the neutrons. So let's bring out a periodic table. I happen to know that argon is a noble gas, so I will look in the last column of the periodic table. Argon is over here. It has proton number 18, so let's fill in 18 protons. And calcium, I happen to know, is in group 2 of the periodic table, and calcium is right here with proton number 20. So argon, element number 18, hence 18 protons. Calcium, element number 20, hence 20 protons. Now I can compute the number of neutrons from this information. It told me that both argon and calcium have mass numbers of 40. So to find the number of neutrons, I subtract the number of protons from the mass number, because the mass number is the number of protons plus neutrons. So 40 minus 18 is 22. I get 22 neutrons for argon and 20 for calcium. Calcium 44 is an isotope of calcium 40 because it is the same element. They're both calcium. You can see in the symbol here. So since they are both calcium, they would both have the same number of protons. I will write 20 protons to indicate that. But they are isotopes. They have differing number of neutrons. If I subtract 20 from 44, I'm going to find that calcium 44 has 24 neutrons. They have the same number of protons, same element, but different number of neutrons. That is why they are isotopes. Now I can fill in the electrons. For a neutral atom, I'm going to want to have my negative charges on the electrons, cancel out the positive charges on the protons, so I'll have just the same number of protons and electrons, so I'll just write the same number in both columns. Explain why calcium 40 and calcium 44 are isotopes for the reasons we mentioned. They are the same element, but they have differing numbers of neutrons. Write that down. Explain why calcium 40 and argon 40 are not isotopes. So just because they have the same mass number doesn't make them related in any way. They are completely different elements. Calcium has 20 protons, or argon has 18 protons, so they are different elements. So the simple answer is that they are different elements, and different elements can't be siblings, I guess, can't be brothers or sisters. Complete the electron distribution of an atom of calcium. So let's see. Calcium has 20 electrons. So here's my calcium. So let's say I'm using, let's just call it 20 protons. Let's not worry about the neutrons for now. Remember, the first level of my bus can hold 2 passengers. That leaves me with 18 more to fill. The second level can take 8 passengers. So now I have a total of 2 plus 8, 10. That leaves me 10 to fill. The third level can fill 8 passengers. So the 10 in the first 2 shells plus the 8 in this third shell gives me 18 electrons. So I have 2 left over to make the 20. So the fourth shell is going to contain 2. So the valence shell has 2 electrons. So I can now complete the electronic configuration or electron distribution here. It's 2 in the first, 8 in the second, 8 in the third, and finally 2 in the outermost shell.